Hello everyone, my name is Diva Amalia from Home Group 3. Today me and my friend going to present our discussion regarding the numerical reasoning. Let's get started from the first problem about the production of fresh large chili. This is the data that we can conclude from the problem. We can get the total harvest, the land area, the productivity average from the year 2010 to 2011. From this problem, we get three variable, which is the production, the area, and the productivity. The production is the cumulative number of crops harvest, and the area is the quantity of land used for harvesting, and then the productivity is the amount of crops harvest per area. And then from this problem, we can observe and said that the independent variable from this problem is the amount harvest and the number of hectare harvest. On the other hand, the dependent variable is the productivity. And these are the graphs that we can conclude from the problem. It can be observed from the graph shown that the total production of large fresh chili increased steadily in 2010 and 2011. The total production has increased from 807,160 to 880.8052 kilotons. Also, the productivity also increased from the 6.68 tons in 2010 to 7.34 tons in 2011. And in the last graph shown that the area harvest in 2011 is less than the area harvest in 2010. It is going down from 122,000 to 121,000 hectare. From this information, it can be said that the overall production will increase as the harvest area productivity decrease. And then from the graph also, we can linearly extrapolate that the productivity will increase in 2012 from this formula, which is the y equal to 0.76x 2012 minus 1,500 2001 and 21 equals to the 8.12. So the chili production will continue to increase in 2012, assuming the production increase of the area decreases by the next year.
Now for the problem number 2. The problem number 2 is about production of onion leaf with leaf. The first problem is to determine the dependent and independent variable of this problem. The dependent variable is the productivity, as for the independent variable is amount harvested and the range of hectare harvested. Now as we can see from the graph, all the total production area and productivity is decreasing from years to years. The first graph indicates that overall production indicate that the entire production from 2010 to 2011 fell from 1,048,934 to 893,124. As for the second graphic, the area, the indicates that the location harvested in 2010 is better than 2011 109,634 hectares to 93,667 hectares. Like from the chart number 1, the relation among the dependent and the independent is so the decrease the R, the better the productiveness and production. This announcement simply method that from the graph the location is in low decrease, sufficient for the productiveness and the production to grow. We can predict that in 1 year after the last data, from the linearly extrapolate that the productiveness will grow in 2012. As we can see that The formula is y equal mean minus 0.03 times 2012 plus 69.87 equal 9.51. Provide that the manufacturing will increase or the location decrease will via wave of mean of the subsequent years.
So in problem number 3, we discuss about the number of foreign tourists in Indonesia. The number of foreign tourists arrival in Indonesia in June 2012 reached the 975.5 thousand people, or rose around 3.13% compared to the number of foreign tourists in June 2011, which amounted to 674.4 thousand people. Similarly, when compared to May 2012, the number of foreign tourists visiting June 2012 rose by 6.86%, and this number of foreign tourists coming through the Ngurah Rai Airport in Bali during June 2012 fell by 1.69% compared to June 2011, from 245.2 thousand people to 241.1 thousand people. Meanwhile, compared to the arrival of foreign tourists during May 2012, the number of foreign tourists to Bali rose by 9.35%. So in the independent variable on problem number 3 is the time, which is the month, and the location, and the dependent variable is the number of tourists percentage. This is the graph that have been created from the data given. So during the time in June 2012, number of people is around 674,400 with a percentage of 0, and in May 2012, the number of people is around 640,000 with the percentage is decreasing to 3.48%, and in June 2012 the number of people is around 675,000 with the percentage increasing to 6.85%. This is the percentage graph shown by from the June 2011 to May 2012 until June 2012. So the number of foreign visiting Bali in June 2011 is 245,000 with a percentage of 0, and in May 2012 the number of people is slightly decreasing into 220,000 with a percentage of minus 10.07%, and in June 2012 it's decreasing again back to 241,000 with the percentage of 9.35. This is the percentage graph shown during time changes per month on June 2011 to May 2012 and to June 2012. So the formula provided for this problem is using mn equal to ml times 100 plus minus x percentage. Mn shows the number of tourists this month, and ml shows the number of tourists last month, and the x is the percentage of the tourists increase or decrease. So the graph can be seen according to the data and formula based on the data. The number of foreign visitors in Indonesia monthly is y equal to 10.6x plus 663, and the formula of the percentage of foreign tourist arrivals in Indonesia monthly based on the data is y equal to 3.43x minus 2.3. You can see basis on the formula, the graph shows really showing a positive increasing the visitor, which is decided to be having a great impact on the country tourism. This is the interpretation of the graph B according to the problem given. So the graph illustrates the graph of the data for arrivals for foreign tourists in Indonesia and foreign tourists visiting Bali. The number is increasing sharply from the summer and 1 year ahead, so as you can see. But the percentage increase hits the number of 6.85% to the tourists that are visiting Indonesia since May 2012 until June 2012. And specifically, the number percentage climbed into 9.35% for tourists that are visiting Bali. The number of visitors to Indonesia is declining based on the graph after the summertime, and is shown in the graph percentage of declining hits the number of minus 30.48%, while in Bali the decline is worse as it hits the number of minus 10.07%, and overall the number of visiting Indonesia is around 3.13%. depression after 1 year. A year after the last data shows the graph will start slowly decreasing from June 2012 until May 2013. The condition is predicted from June 2012. The condition will be similar on the case with in year which the number of visitors in June 2000 will be increasing if it is compared to June 2012.
To the next problem, the fourth problem is about the export of non-oil and non-gas on June 2012. These are the problem that were given. From this problem, we can get two variable, which is the independent variable being the time, the commodity, and the country, and then the second variable is the dependent variable, which is the profits. And then from as observed on the chart, we can see a comparative debasement from non-oil and gas sectors. Clearly, from June 2011 until May 2012, there's some progressive drop of profit from 14.46 billion US dollar to 13.08 billion US dollar, and from May 2012 to June 2012, the declining measure for benefit was 4.04%. The diagram shows that mineral energies have the greatest reduction regarding benefit from a year ago. On June 2012, we can discover that the benefit was about 334.8 million US dollar, while creature or the vegetable fats have the greatest development as far as the benefit with the dumbfounding number of 137.9 million US dollar. Export shifts into three diverse continents, which are Asia, North America, and Europe. With China as our greatest non-oil and gas buyer, with the benefit of 1.57 billion US dollar, followed by Japan with 1.45 billion US dollar, and US with 1.31 billion US dollar, and Europe with a total of 27 nations with 1.38 billion US dollar. By utilizing the accessible information for reference, in the event that a condition from June 2012 was to be anticipated, at that point a comparative example will frame. The quantity of benefits from non-oil and gas area will in any case have a decrease happen until the issue can be shipped through by various 4 to 5%. We can in any case push the quantity of deals from vegetables and creature fats to build the expected benefit for around 2 until 3% every year. Quantity of nations that become our customer will be pretty much the equivalent with China, still the greatest purchaser, and Europe will be our most non-oil and gas purchaser.
So in the problem number 5, we are discussing about the number of poor people in Indonesia. And the first problem, we need to decide which become the dependent or the independent variables based on the problem. So in the independent variable itself is a variable the experimenter changes or control and is assumed to have a direct effect on dependent variable, while dependent variable is a variable being tested and measured in analyzing factors on experiment and is dependent on the independent variable. So from the list problem 1 number 5 above, the dependent variable is the percentage of poor people in Indonesia, and the independent variable is the number of poor people in Indonesia. Could be due to the per capita gross domestic product, literacy rate, and the percentage of life expectancy. So the total number of poor population in March 2011 is around 30.02 million, with a poverty level of 24.75%. And it is divided into two, which is the urban area poor population number and the rural area poor population. And in March 2011, the urban poor population reaching the number of 11.05 million, the poverty level of 9.23%, and the rural area poor population is 18.77 million with the poverty level of 15.72%. And in March 2012, The total number of poor population is 29.13 million with a poverty level of 23.9%, which is slightly decreased around 1% each year. And the number of urban poor population in March 2012 is 10.65 million with a poverty level of 8.78%, while in the rural area poor population is 18.48 million with a poverty level of 15.12%. And this is the graph that I've been created from the data that I've been given. So on March 2011 until March 2012, the rural area population is slightly decreasing into 1 million people, around that number. The urban area population also slightly decreased, as you can see from the graphs. So according to the first degree Thorbecke, the indicator that usually has been used to count the absolute poverty is this formula, with A as 0 and Z as the line of the poverty, and WI is the average outcome per month capita of population under the line of poverty, Q as the number of population under the line of poverty, and M as the number of population. This is the graph that I've been collected from Badan Pusat Statistik, showing the number of poverty in Indonesia from 2011 until 2017. So the interpretation of the graph before, according to the problem that have been given, is that to measure the poverty rate are depending on the number of population, which can be approached by concepting the ability to fulfill basic needs as inability from the economic side. But because the data that have been collected only reveals the percentage from year to year and the number of population during time changes per year, we couldn't proceed to continue measuring the actual poverty rate by using basic needs approach, because measure the line poverty rate, it needs formulation by reference population basic on every year and the minimum commodity beside food or etc. And in the prediction of the condition 1 year after the last year data, describe the condition that must be met to make such prediction. So corresponding on the graph table of poverty during 2011 until 2017, which I have been collected from the Badan Pusat Statistik, is shown that the number of poor population and poverty percentage are decreasing slightly, but if we see it only by the data given from 2011 until 2012, actually we could not predict it efficiently due to the lack of data to be examined, but we can know that the data is slightly decreasing on the poor people population during the time changes every year, because there are a lot of factors that need to be noticed to reduce the number of poverty level, especially on the economic side. But if we see it from the graphs, actually on around March 2013, the number of poor population maybe would slightly change into decreasing to 1 million.
So next is problem number 6. Problem number 6 is about the growth of large and medium manufacturing industry. The problem is about the growth of production of large and medium manufacturing industry from years to years, and there is quarter to quarter and month to month. We determine that the dependent and independent variable on this problem is the dependent variable is the comparison percentage growth of production large and medium manufacturing industry in yearly, quarterly, and monthly, while for the independent variable is the evaluation percentage growth of production large and medium manufacturing industry. As we can see from the graph, the growth of production of large and medium manufacturing industry from year to year, from 2010 to 2012, there is a significant increase. We can see that from 2010 to 2011 is increased about 3.51%, while from 2011 to 2012 is increased about 4.88%. We can use the formula from growth production is about production per years. As for the quarterly production growth in the large and medium manufacturing industry, from second quarter 2011 to fourth quarter 2011, there is a significant increase, but unfortunately, the there is a decrease from fourth quarter 2011 to first quarter 2012. The decrease is about 0.82%. As for the growth of production of large and medium manufacturing industry monthly, from December 2011 to March 2012, there is a huge decrease from December 2011 to January 2012. The decrease is about minus 48%. But after January 2012, there is an increase again to recover the loss. The increase from January 2012 to February 2012 is 4.99%, and from February to March, the increase is about 0.27%. So from the graph is explain about the growth production of large and medium manufacturing in yearly, quarterly, and monthly. The production has steadily increased from 2010 to 2012. In the second quarter 2011, the production has started blooming, especially in first quarter 2012. But there is a decrease in January 2012 about 4.99%. After that, the production bounced back in February to recover the losses in January 2012. As in March 2012, the production has reached its peak. So it's the highest success now in March 2012. We can predict that the condition after 1 year from the last data, the condition is that in 2013 the production will increase again because there will have more demand. The production of growth of production large and manufacturing industry has become more popular as the times go on. Based on linearly extrapolate that the productivity will increase in 2013. Using the formula y equal 4.195 times 2013 minus 4,433 equal 8,440.112. So in percentage, in year 2013, the production will increase about 8.4%. We can see from the graph to year from 2010 to 2013. 2013 is the highest success in the manufacturing industry. So that's all from our presentation. Thank you very much.